Hi, this is James Zhang with Full Capital, and we're here with Satya Masina, and we're out touring a property today, and I wanted to give people a chance to maybe give people an intro about you and sort of, this obviously is a 200 plus unit deal, and this wasn't the first deal, so talk to us about sort of your background and what you did to get here.
Sure, James. Thanks for having me. So I was a technology guy before, and I started off in multifamily back in 2014. So it was a very organic growth for me. I didn't go from zero to 200 units in one go. I've done a lot of small intermediate deals, kind of building on each of my acquisition, each of my transaction. Doing a lot of value add rehab, and I have 7 full turns under my belt. So my last acquisition was about 224 units, similar size in Irving, Las Colinas. And now we are with a 223 units property in Grapevine, Texas.
So what attracted you to this property?
So I guess definitely location is the first thing, and then the opportunity or this particular property offers. Like I said, Grapevine is a very central location within DFW, hardly minutes from DFW airport. A lot of economic activity going on around here, a lot of Fortune 500 companies close by, surrounded by wealthy towns. So around this property, you have single family homes valued at $450K. Grapevine boasts about $450K median home values, about $95-97K median income. So all these factors definitely attracted us to this particular property. This property offers walking distance to the Grapevine Lake. There's a huge amount of bike trails, sports arenas close by, and then you have Grapevine Colleyville ISD is top A-rated ISD here. So all these would attract families, and families can afford a solid 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment, especially when we upgrade, and they're still going to get a lot of value for the money that they're going to pay here. And then, what this property offers to us is, this property is owned by the current sellers since 1998. All of them are classic units, so it offers us an opportunity to upgrade and achieve the current upgraded market rents and go beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, Grapevine doesn't have a lot of apartments to begin with.
Sure.
And then the ones that they do have, a lot of them are pretty new, so Class A, there's a lot of Class A in Grapevine, and the rents are significantly higher.
Sure.
And so what do you plan on doing to take sort of the classic units and bring those up to a premium unit?
Sure, you're absolutely right, James. This is a property, kind of looks and feels like a 1980s classic pitched roof with the brick and siding. So the exterior, the setting of the property, is such that we can, kind of uplift with the exterior upgrades, and of course, with the interior, we're looking to transition from carpets to vinyl planks, backsplash, maybe hard countertops, improved cabinet doors, and a lot of modern electrical fixtures. So all these are, kind of proven value-add items, which can fetch us a significant rent bumps up to 200 plus a unit, and we've been experienced in doing this, so it's very proven model here.
Have you so the first deal you bought was in McKinney, but then some of the other deals you've bought have been throughout DFW.
Sure.
Is there maybe one property where you've come in, done the rehab, and improved the rents? Can you talk about one of those properties? Sure.
We've done this across our portfolio, but I think compared to a similar size, back in April of 2021, we acquired 223 units in Irving, Las Colinas. It's also similar vintage. So we came in, we started upgrading the units similar to what I just said before, and we're already achieving 200 plus rent bumps on that particular property. In fact, like, the market kind of even surprised us, where we could, tone down our upgrades, but we're still achieving, more than expected, more than pro forma rents, over there. And then also, we bought another 65 unit in Waxahachie, in a similar time frame. That's a 1980s townhome, and we are also able to bump up the rents, like, in a similar manner over there. So it's like what I would call as a classic plan, where we identify properties with underperforming rents, and then once you upgrade, you can achieve those rents, and then this particular property also offers us a lot of other income opportunity as well. For example, there's covered parking here, but then the current sellers, like, are not charging that.
What do you think? A lot of people who start out, they maybe start in the 25 to 50 unit, maybe 75 unit deals, and now you've been able to acquire a 224 unit in Irving, and now you're buying, 223 unit here in Grapevine. What do you think has helped you sort of get to that level of size deal? Because it's a big deal for most people.
Sure. So I guess, like, the one big factor I would attribute is definitely having, delivering on your promise, be it, the way you handle the transaction with the brokers, or be it, like, the way you operate your properties and deliver returns to your investors, and then, definitely forming a team you can trust, like, not just your internal partners, but your external, vendor partners, with whom you do business. Like, you build trust all around, and then over time they root for you, and there's a lot of references. It's not easy to, as win a deal in this competitive market in DFW, especially where big players are actually competing for these kind of properties. But what gets you to win the deal is definitely, it's a teamwork and a lot of references, and so on, and the broker having confidence on us that we would deliver on the transaction.
And then how do you plan on, there's obviously a lot of rehab that goes into it, a lot of management. A lot of people are afraid to get into multifamily because of the management. How are you going to manage an asset this large?
So we do work with a third-party management company. After evaluating many, we chose a mid-range company, where we have the synergy, where we can work very closely. While the day-to-day has been, is being managed by, the third-party management company, we are heavily involved as syndicators or general partners. We are heavily involved in, overseeing the CapEx, like, making sure our business plan is being progressed, like, every single day, and then we measure, what has been progressed, like, from day one to, every 2 weeks, every 1 month, like, are we moving towards our, business goals and so on. So we're heavily, involved on, in a project on a regular basis.
Yeah, so a lot of properties, built in the 1980s or even 1990s are 3-story, and it sort of feels like you're on top of each other.
Sure.
This property is, as you can see, it's a little bit more spread out, and
yes.
So more garden style, 2-story, majority of it's 2-story, and just has a little bit more green space.
Absolutely. This is what we call as a classic garden style, just 2 floors, and then kind of spread out, each building is spread out, and as you can see, matured landscaping, and this is where, like, we would have the opportunity to extend the yards, to capture some of this additional space, like, into people's yards, and for them to enjoy, sit out or cook out and things like that.
Yeah, especially for people with pets.
Yes.
If you have pets and you want to let them out, you can. This is probably a good example right here. You can extend this patio out,
sure.
And then your pet can go out the sliding door and do its business without having to get out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, no, that's perfect.
Yeah, that's a convenience like lot of tenants like and willing to pay for.
So a lot of times we're looking for suburban properties. You want maybe single family housing behind you as a buffer, and then a little bit more open space. A lot of people don't want to be on top of each other, and so they have a little bit of a dog park here. But any ideas on what you could do out here, Satya?
Sure. So this area, potentially, we could organize this or improve the dog park, but also like there's plenty of space here where we can add a kids playground, maybe a gazebo with a cookout. Tenants actually love those kind of things, like where they can hang out with families and so on.
So a lot of times when we're walking around the property, we're trying to figure out, all right, how do you add amenities that Class B tenants really want and they'll use? And so Satya, maybe talk about what you guys plan on doing in this space that's sort of opened up here.
Sure. As you see in the back, there's plenty of families and kids with the bikes and so on. What I would like definitely is like this area we would like to have a gazebo, for people to come and sit, chat with families and so on. That's like probably that's what we'll do in this area, but we'll try to incorporate like similar improvements like in each of the courtyard area.
So on this property there's probably 3 or 4 courtyards of this size.
Yes.
And so it just gives a little bit more spacious feel.
Yes.
For the units, so it doesn't feel like you're on top of each other. People can come out and enjoy the patio or gazebo and grill and stuff out here.
Absolutely, yeah. Sure.
And we're at the front of the property, so the front's really important because obviously there's a lot of traffic going by and you got to draw people in. So talk about what you plan on doing to the exterior of the property to really draw new tenants in.
Absolutely, James. Like curb appeal is very, very important to draw the tenants inside and take a look at our interior upgrades. So for example, right in the front, like what we would plan is to improve the landscape here. And as you can see, the front balconies, we can wrap cedar, horizontal cedar, fencing wrap around, like around the metal railings we have. That kind of gives a very elevated contemporary look, along with the new color scheme and so on. But primarily, we would also focus on landscape and the cedar wraps in the front.
And then are you going to do anything? The property has a good name recognition on Google and reviews and things like that.
Sure.
In terms of signage or maybe solar screens, do you guys plan on doing any of those?
You're right. Like so solar screens is one thing that we would definitely do, and then signage. As of now, we don't have any plans to change the name because it does have a good name recognition, but we'll definitely have an improved signage to kind of give it at the next level look that we want.
So Satya, a lot of times we're out here, we're doing our walk, the lender might do a walk, appraiser might do a walk, but you also want someone to check out sort of all the systems throughout the property. So who's our special guest here with us?
Oh, the one and only Brian Amos, with Omni Assessments. We worked with him. We worked with you, plenty of times, Brian. You're one of the best in DFW. So tell us, like, what you do here. How do you, what kind of inspections you do. What components do you cover, and so on.
Well, like James said, you have people on the lender side that check out your property. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the investor side. So I help the equity portion determine anything that could be wrong. Yes. So we cover all physical systems. So the roof, the foundation, plumbing, we scope all the lines to make sure that they're good. Termite inspections. Of course, we walk through all the interiors and have a 85-point checklist to go through the interiors. Electrical, also important. So I'm a coordinator of experts, so to speak. So I have a plumber and an electrician come in, and a roofer and exterior carpentry, and we're coordinating all of that so we can give you actual bids here in a few days, and a report that you can use on your side, and then know the best business plan moving forward.
Yeah, so a lot of times we will take in what Brian gives us, we'll take in what the lender gives us, And then, Satya on the equity side, he needs to make a decision. All right, how much capex do we want to spend on the property
Yes.
To really get the rents there?
Yes, and we're relying heavily on Brian's reports, kind of to know what's under the hood, where we need to allocate the money, and are we aligned, with whatever initial capex we thought, do we need to improve it? So this is very critical component of the the transaction process, where getting the due diligence done, and then our business plan is based on a lot of these reports, what needs to be corrected, and
Right, and again, we're on your side.
Sure.
Sometimes we have bad news, but it's all to help you, on your business plan, execute it for you or your investors at the end of the day, have a good deal.
Exactly, Brian. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so Omni walks a ton of properties. I walk a lot of properties. Satya walks a lot of properties. Yes. Omni's doing this day in and day out. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, Brian, what's the best way to
email me at brianamos@theomnigroup.com. Again, that's THEOMNI group.com.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, Satya, I really appreciate you coming on and telling us a little bit more about this new acquisition. If people wanted to learn more about you and future opportunities, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Sure, James. People can call me or email me. Again, my name is Satya Masina. My email Satya.P.Masina@gmail.com, and my phone number 973-489-9708.